Now, according to last month's Sunday Times Rich List, Duncan is now worth a whopping 320 million smackers.
When I grew up here, we were very poor, but, you know, my parents worked very hard to feed us and were very loving, so we had a good family life, but it was just poor. We didn't have a car. We were the last ones in the street to get a television. We had to go to friends. We'd stand behind the couch watching the television. As a child, the ice cream van came around. I says, Mum, could I have an ice cream? And she says, no. And I says, why not? She says, well, no money. I said, why have no money? She says, because we're poor. I said, I don't want to be poor. You know, I was not educated. I left school at 15. I joined the Royal Navy. I got thrown out when I was 19 years old. I spent 6 months in Klink. I spent a few days in Berlin later on, a few years later. I couldn't get a job. And I started in business because I couldn't get a job. And I was 29 when I started. I was penniless at the age of 29. And I started in business. When I left Clydebank, the overriding feeling was that I wanted to see the world. It wasn't that I hated Clydebank. I just didn't have a life. And I wanted to create a life for myself and see something different.
Aged 15, Duncan joined the Navy, signing up for 12 years in the ship's engine room. But he found it hard to take orders, and aged 19 was court-martialed for attempting to throw his commanding officer overboard. He served 9 months in military prison.
I found myself just trying to be discharged from the Royal Navy. I came home and my sister died. And I started drinking quite heavily.
After his sister's death, Duncan hit rock bottom. He was arrested for being drunk and disorderly, and aged 24, he was locked up in Barlinnie prison here in Glasgow.
When you go in these big gates, and you're in that cell, you think, my God, my life's over. A lot of people don't realise just the depth of how low I went. My life could have been so very different. I could have ended up in here more than once.
With his unconventional CV, Duncan says he had the perfect skill set to apply for one job: becoming an entrepreneur.
When you have a criminal record, no qualifications, no references, the best option is starting your own business, because no one can stop you.
In 1980, he had moved to Stockton-on-Tees in the northeast. There, he spotted an opportunity that was about to change his life.
When I was 30, I worked in a bakery. To supplement my income, I'd go to the car auction, buy the odd car, do it up and sell it. One day I saw this beautiful little ice cream van coming through, and I thought, I'm going to buy that and start a business. I paid £450 for it. That's the quickest way in. Yes, please. Hello. What can I get for you?
I just want an ice cream with just plain ice cream. That's
Just plain ice cream.
It was here in Stewart's Park that Duncan acquired the exclusive licence to sell ice creams.
This, you could say, was where I really started making money in business. I think people have got to realise that nobody wakes up and says, I'm going to make Duncan Bannatyne rich. You've got to go and do it yourself. You've got to get off your backside and go out and actually do it. Thank you. Business is pretty quiet. I remember it being a lot busier when I was here.
Duncan's super ices expanded rapidly. Within 2 years, he was running 6 vans. But there was a turf war going on in the ice cream world, and his competitors wanted a piece of the action.
When I was in the ice cream business, it was a tough game. It was whoever was the biggest and whoever could fight the hardest. They would come along and see where we were, and they knew the route, and so they would try and get in front of us and sell ice cream in front of us and try and put us out of business. They were chasing each other around. Sometimes it got a bit heated, and sometimes it came to fisticuffs.
Duncan wasn't easily intimidated. Within 3 years, he was running a business with a turnover of £250,000.
I was making profits of about between £30,000 and £60,000 per year, depending on how the summer went. And I sold the business for £28,000.
Duncan's next venture couldn't have been more different. In the early 80s, new benefits for the care of the elderly were introduced by the government. There was more money to be made from the private care home business, and Duncan wanted a slice of it.
Margaret Thatcher was in government, and she decided she was going to change the way our elderly population were looked after. Everybody said that would make a lot of people very rich. So I thought, well, I'll try and build one and see how it does for me. I looked at a lot of nursing homes in the area. There's people living 8 in a bedroom, So I determined I would build all single bedrooms. So it was one of the first brand new purpose-built nursing homes.
To finance his first care home, Duncan needed £360,000. But at that stage, he didn't have a track record, and the banks refused to lend him the money.
I managed to pay the first bill at my ice cream business. By the time the second bill came in, I had no money, so I sold my car. I got £30,000 out of 3 credit cards. When the third bill came in, I sold the house.
Having sold everything, Duncan still had outstanding debts for the building work, and he needed extra finance. The business was now valued at £600,000, and Duncan went back to the bank to ask if they could now offer him some help.
The bank manager says, well, it's only worth that if it's full. So he said, I'll come in Monday and have a look. Of course, I knew it wasn't full, a few empty beds. So I went to see my mother and got a few of her friends, got my minibus and brought them round. Monday morning, the bank manager walked in. Then actually I lied to him. I said, look, 30 bedrooms, 30 old people. He remortgaged it, paid my debts, bought another plot of land and started building a second nursing home.
From that point on, Duncan's business expanded rapidly. He wasn't afraid of borrowing, and as soon as one nursing home was built, he'd remortgage it and build another. Within 3 years, he owned 9.
A lot of people would have built one nursing home, made a lot of money, not bothered to do any more. You know, serial entrepreneurs are just not like that. I don't know why it is that we continue to want to develop and develop and develop and develop, but we do, and that is a fact. This would be a typical ensuite toilet in one of our small nursing homes. A nice functional room. Simple as that. Wasn't difficult. Bank managers always said, you're expanding too fast, so go to another bank. When I floated the stock exchange and had £6 million worth of debts, I had 4 separate banks. When one bank said no, go to another bank and another bank, and just keep going. The banks were wrong, I was right. I knew that then, and I know it now.
In 1997, Duncan sold up for over £45 million. Fast forward 11 years, and Duncan's business empire includes 61 health clubs and 3 hotels.
I know business. I'm in the service industry. When I service, I look after almost 200,000 members at the moment. So my strength is looking after people. It's a people business.
With a £16 million development underway at his hotel in Hastings, Duncan's experience of the building industry is once again coming to the fore.
So when's this site due to be finished?
October the 17th.
How many weeks is that?
6 weeks.
6 weeks?
6 weeks, yeah.
It's Friday, 6 weeks a day?
6 weeks a day. Weather permitting.
Weather permitting. Never mind weather permitting, come on. I've project managed and built 40 nursing homes, about 50 health clubs, 20 children's day nurseries. The important thing is, when you're building this, you get a fixed price with the builder, fixed price with the architect, and everybody's got to be finished in a specific date. If they're not finished, they pay me a penalty clause. Makes us sweat, but, you know.
It's not that easy, is it? Or everyone would be doing it.
It is that easy. And
Is
everybody
it?
could do it.
I mean, basically, up till 30, you were a bit of a bum. And then within 7 years, you were a multi-millionaire. What did you start doing differently? You must have started doing something differently.
Well, I started in business by selling ice cream, and then I bought the opposition van, and I bought a few more vans, and it went from there. And then I decided I was going to get into the nursing home business. I was going to buy a plot of land and build a brand new nursing home with single bedrooms. And so I sold everything. I sold my house, my colour television, my ice cream business, my car, everything. I mortgaged a lot, borrowed money in credit cards. I knew when the nursing home was open, it'd be worth more than what it cost, and it was, and I paid off all my debts, and that was it.
I still think something must have clicked in your head.
Does it help having nothing to lose?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Because you said, you know, you sold this, you sold that, and but if you've got a family already, and you're one of these people who's been brought up to scrimp and save, and you've got lots of dependents, then you've got too much to lose to take the risk.
Yeah, if you read the autobiographies of a lot of entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, you'll see that most of them have had no education or less school, so they couldn't get jobs as accountants or bank managers on £300,000 a year, or bankers and things like that. So they had no choice. Either they start in business or they get a job sweeping the streets or some low-paid job. Sometimes when you think this is a very lonely life, when you're the person running the business, making the money, before you've gone through a few years of it, and you think, this is terrible, this is hard. But you've got to keep going. If you want to get, I want to make enough money to send my children to private school, I wanted to educate them, I wanted to buy a house, and then by that time the business was running better and I was getting used to it and I was starting to enjoy it, and it just kept going. You just have to keep going.